was a teenager, I used to really hate San Francisco. Honestly, I couldn't tell you why. I think I just was a moody teen who wanted to just have opinions about things. But as an adult coming back, I really like San Francisco more and more. The more times I visit and the more I see of the city.
Will and I have toyed with the idea of living here or around here for 11 years.
I was just snapping away with my camera, taking videos, taking photos, and while I was out on the ferry, I got completely sprayed with water, soaking wet, all of my bags and everything. So I ran inside, dried off. This part of California is not always so sunny. It was windy, it was cold, it was wet, but I loved it. Finally I made it. And he picked me up from the ferry terminal in Larkspur, and we drove through the hills of Marin County to this beautiful paradise. And I see why she wants to preserve it.
Point Reyes saw me grow up, to walk the same roads and go to the same bakeries, and to come here as an adult and feel connected to that version of myself. I feel like when you show places to people, it helps demonstrate things that you can't really articulate. It would be impossible to explain what this place means to me without you seeing it yourself.
We are in beautiful Northern California.
I love it here. I don't want to leave. Whenever I get here, I can finally relax and just feel pure and free, and that's something that I want to continue in my young family and into the next generation. So curious to see where that'll be. Hopefully it's here.
I always loved coming here, but I don't think as a kid you really understand that something is meaningful until you're an adult and you're left wanting connections to your childhood or to places that knew you as a child.
Dream come true! Dream come true!
Every single time I come here, I think I want to live here. I could live here.
Yeah, there's a lot of history here for sure. Been coming here since as long as I can remember. We were probably 3 and 5 years old, so we were running around here, and then so it's kind of crazy to still be coming here. There's not very many places like that in life.
Get your ass up on the dance floor, girl. You a maniac.
It's a really special place.
I am the controller. Your body is a game. I am the controller. Your body is a chain. Fuck your brain, fuck your man. I am the promoter.
In a couple years, this bridge will be 90 years old.
Is that new? I thought it was older than that.
I'm pretty sure 1937.
Oh. So I try and get the right move down. Novice videographer here.
Point Reyes to me is all the trees. These canyons that you walk through in the neighborhood. You'd also see the bakery, the Palace Market, the bookstore, Toby's Feed Shop, all the Point Reyes classics.
first introduction to actually knowing anybody in Will's family was here with Daw. Just the three of us hanging out. We made pasta, homemade pasta. It was so fun to learn how to cook like that, and that kitchen is stunning. And I was in college, so I remember just being so impressed by this house and the kitchen and how beautifully lit it was, and this man who's an amazing cook, and he's giving us wine and he's teaching us how to make homemade pasta. It was just such a special moment, and I got to know him, and then I was graciously invited back later in that fall.
I'll give you a little pet. James Patrick O'Hara, known to the best of us as Daw. He found Point Reyes with his second wife, Ko, and they found this property and built this house from the ground up together. And now he lives here with his third wife, Min.
So the contractors took a picture of the wall up, so I could say it.
The whole area is just a beautiful landscape, and this house has its own version of that.
Aren't elderberries poisonous?
No, I don't think so.
No?
The garden is beautiful to walk through. The landscaping and just the nature within the house is already something to behold, but just go right outside here. I feel like once you get to know the grandparents, you've kind of found yourself in a better place.
Artichokes.
Artichokes, wow.
It hasn't really changed that much in 20 plus years, which is kind of surprising.
Give us a good, I made this pose.
The grounds have changed, but like really like so many of the things that were planted originally are still here. So much of the scenery and all the woodwork and everything.
Oh,
like,
they're
is
in the
all
house.
Original.
You don't know anything, okay? I'm full of mystery and mystique.
You just have always been a fast processor.
Yes. At least they have a good swimsuit for Belize.
Why for Belize? When are you going to Belize?
I don't know. I heard someone might be taking you there on our honeymoon.
I remember discovering some new music. I think it was the Death Cab album, Narrow Stairs, which is a great album. Have it on vinyl now. I think I was probably like 12 or 13, and I remember just having a distinct moment of appreciation, even like at that age, for just a moment in time, looking out at Tamales Bay, out of the trees, and listening to, being like a sappy teen and listening to Death Cab. Even early on, I started doing that, where I started taking time to appreciate what it is, and that we have, that we're lucky enough to do it. There's a song called Calf on that album that specifically has like a guitar riff that really just like struck a chord. I just did a pun.
There's just beautiful walks of nature. That was another early on memory, was doing nature walks with Will and getting to experience the landscape out here. If I had my way, it would be a place that stays prominent for all of us, especially as this family grows. You and Annie are growing. Having you and Annie enjoy it with Will and I has been a new development that obviously we will continue doing this for as long as we can. We'll make this a tradition. We already are, but I hope that this tradition grows and we have Sheila and Kevin coming to join us, and we have more family members who spend the time. I've been really jealous of the memories that Annie and Will have had of not necessarily family reunions, but they had 4th of July parties here when they were kids, and the whole family would come. And maybe there's a resurrection of that kind of thing that can happen as our families independently grow. Maybe we can use this place for something like that again. So if I had my way, it would be utilized in the same way as a communal place for all of us to join and spend some time together every year.
Off on an adventure, eh?
That's right. Where did it go?
Okay, you're now good.
We made all sorts of little stops, seeing some of the places that Annie told me about before we got here, and all of these childhood memories that she had, and it's just a very quaint town.
Especially in the springtime when everything's green and everything feels alive. It's very special. I don't know very many places left that look like this.
It's just such a cool place, and when you get here and you experience the small town and the slowness, there's a drive to want to live this way, live in a life that is a little bit more quiet and just centered around family and someone like Daw, who just is very good at bringing people into his family and into his home.
Daw and Min are extremely intelligent and thoughtful people. They are so full of life and class. I've been introduced to enjoying the finer things in life as I've been with Annie, and it's a good way to be.
We took our time. She took mine.
I think Point Reyes has always been a place that brings me back to a little bit of stillness and a little bit of release from whatever is happening in my life that feels imminent or drastically important than other things. And that's really not the case. When you come here, there's not very good cell service. It's a very slow way of life. It's very relaxed and community-oriented, and all of those qualities kind of come together to take you out of your own mind and your own mess and to bring you back to center. And for me, this is a center.
Got a handle on the doors that we open and close. Can you take a little time, go balance your ways? Cause everything we do and we put on display, maybe you and me are a little the same. So what do you think of what we made? She took her time.
All of the reasons that are meaningful to people: history, roots, connection, stability. Point Reyes has offered that to me, and the older I get, the more I realize how valuable and rare that is, and the more I treasure it.
I think I've felt that every single time I've come here. The very first time I came here, when Will and I first started dating and he had lived here, I just immediately was like, I want to live, if not in Point Reyes, if not at this house, then nearby.
I want to promote keeping special family places in families.
And he lives to shock. Right, you're here. You're here. Ah.
Chuck
And his piano.
We were touring that olive orchard. We were looking at all these different art pieces, and then they walked us into a room where the owner had at one point purchased an Elton John tour piano because he had been auctioning them off, bright red piano. And they had like opened up the idea that anybody could play on the piano. We were all pushing Daw because we knew he had written some songs. We loved hearing him play. He was kind of resistant at first, but he jumped on it eventually. And then he broke out this like original song that he wrote. It was just kind of magical because he started playing it and all of a sudden like the entire party of bridesmaids was in tears and we're all having this like transcendent moment of watching this guy from memory just play this emotional song that he wrote. Him being the patriarch of the family, I think him being so interested in playing music so much and encouraging music so much definitely trickled down through generations.
If you lose your money, great God, don't lose your mind. If you lose your money, great God, don't.
This is still kind of my home away from home, I guess. 'Cause I don't have any memories really of any house that he lived in before this.
It just reminds me of being a kid. I was out here a lot when I was young and we'd always stay here. So it just transports me back to a really familiar feeling, like a home away from home.
I'm gonna buy me a bulldog, watch my lady whilst I sleep. 'Cause women these days, bye.
We love it so much.
Love it. Let's do it forever.
Let's do it forever. Bye. Bye-bye.
See you soon.
I get the sense of why historically it's been such an important place and also important for a lot of movements, freedom movements and other things like that really define a lot of the West Coast attitude in a social and political sense. And so I appreciate it for that. Plus it's beautiful, the climate's perfect. But I'm just excited to get to know it even more. I think everybody being interested in it as a potential future spot, like there's a chance that we could be in San Fran a lot more, and I think that's exciting.
San Francisco days, San Francisco nights. San Francisco days, San Francisco nights. I still love you, I still want you, I still need you. Don't hang up and say goodbye.
If I'm watching this in the future, you're awesome.
We think of this place as a place of love, and so every time we come back and visit, it's a memory of our time and Don Min's time and all of the other people who have fallen in love here.
Feeling my heart skip a beat to see someone that looks like you. I guess that I'm not through dreaming of the one I love. You know what I'm dreaming of. San Francisco days, San Francisco nights.